Historymakers. Historymakers.
Hi, and welcome to Historymakers. I'm Matt Prater. Today we're speaking with Pastor Brad Reed from the New York Dream Center. That's right, some people are thinking, hang on, I thought it was the LA Dream Center. Well, Brad used to be the youth pastor at the LA Dream Center, but 4 months ago was sent out on an amazing journey to begin the New York Dream Center under the leadership of Pastor Matthew Barnett. And Brad shared at New Hope Brisbane this morning, and most of the church came out for prayer at the end of the service. And we've had an incredible day of ministry. It's been inspiring to hear the story. Welcome to Historymakers, Brad.
I'm glad to be here. Yeah, it was an amazing time. We had a great time, and a lot of prayer too in starting the New York Dream Center, because we certainly need it with a big city like that. So I'm just so glad to be on the show. Thanks for having me on.
Now, for those of you who can't see Brad, we're filming this for YouTube, but for those of you who can't see Brad, he actually looks a bit like Anthony LaPaglia. Has anyone mentioned that to you? Have you heard of him? He's an Australian actor that's on a TV show in the States, quite well known. So anyone who knows Anthony LaPaglia, that's what Brad looks like. So don't mess with him.
Yeah, come on. Hope that's a good thing. It could be a really bad thing.
Yeah. Now, firstly, let's ask you a bit about Australia. You've just been out here for a short time so far. How have we treated you? Have we been nice?
Oh, amazing. Actually, I've had such a great time in Australia. I've learned really quick that it's not Australia, it's Australia. There's no I in it. And I've had a great time. One thing I've learned is Australians, they all shorten every word. You know, you find a good word and you shorten it.
Yeah. Like service station?
Yeah, you call it a servo.
Servo, yeah.
I love that, though. I think it's so great.
And can you say g'day, mate?
G'day, mate.
Very good. That's not too bad,
Yeah, I need to say Aussies.
Yeah,
I need to say Aussies instead of Australians. I need to say Aussies.
Yeah, some Americans call us Aussies.
Yeah.
Aussies. Yeah, like Mozzies. Anyway, so mate, it's a real blessing to have you on the show here today. Let's find out a bit about your background. So what part of the States did you grow up in, and what was your upbringing like?
Well, I actually grew up in Alabama, and I grew up in a very Pentecostal church. It was actually, I don't know if you remember, it's a Church of God denomination, and it's really, I had an amazing church background, and so I grew up every day, pretty much, my parents, so you name it, you had the children's church and the choir practice and the Sunday morning service, the Sunday night service, the Wednesday night, youth get-togethers, and so I pretty much grew up my whole entire life. Anytime the door of the church was open, we would be there. Okay,
so you grew up in Alabama and were a part of the church. Were you just always following God, or was there a time when you were kind of away from God?
Well, I followed God pretty passionately up to about the time I was around 16, 17 years old, and then it became, I think it's like a lot of young people, you get to that crossroads moment where your religion becomes, is this something my parents do, or is this something that I've adopted? And so even though I had a passionate relationship with God, I went on, mission trips, was actively involved in the youth group. I got to a place where I really, had evaluating, like, why do I believe what I believe? Which I think is an important part of a young person's walk, but I think for me, because of some of the things that I've seen, and different things in the church, I think there were some conflicts between what I was reading in the Word and what I was seeing in church, and I think if I would have had mentors in my life that could have shown me different things, I think that I wouldn't have kind of went down the road that I went down. But I think because some things didn't match up, because we're all human, there's times that all of us, if I would have analyzed my own life, I would have saw some discrepancies between what God says and the way I was living. Proverbs 18:1 says, "He who isolates himself seeks his own desire, and he weighs against all wise judgment." And I think for me, I was selfishly only thinking about what I could do for me, and I think because of that, I isolated myself to a point where the enemy could get me sidetracked off different things, and then condemnation sets in. I began to, because of making mistakes, it started, spiraling down to a place where I ended up finding myself in, pretty desperate need of Jesus' grace and deliverance.
And tell me a little bit about your work as a youth pastor. Like, some people are thinking, oh yeah, the Dream Center, what's that? some people mightn't have heard about the amazing story. Tell us the story about how the Dream Centre started and how you got to be involved.
Oh man, it's an actual miracle that I even got to the Dream Center. But the Dream Center started over 15 years ago when Pastor Matthew Barnett was asked by his dad at 20 years of age to go plant a church, not just take over a church, but plant a church in the heart of the inner city of Los Angeles. And I don't know if you've ever been to Los Angeles, but there's parts of Los Angeles that aren't what you see on TV, you know. And so Pastor Matthew got placed at that time in the Rampart Division of Los Angeles, which was one of the most gang ravaged areas in the whole entire city of Los Angeles. And so he gets placed in this, in this area of town. And he just starts going for it, you know, and then he found out that you can't build a great church without building great people. And so he really started focusing on building people, you know, and through that, God showed him, you know, a lot of the programs that we run now were all birthed out of that. You know, one of the major programs that we run at the Dream Center it's called the Adopt a Lot program. You know, he didn't have a lot of staff members or different people like that, so he literally would go door to door and he would knock on doors and just say, "Hey, I'm your local servant. How can I serve you today?" And through those acts of kindness and acts of love, you know, it just began to snowball and build into a place where, you know, 4 years down the road, they saw crime drop 73% in the Rampart Division. And the police actually came, showed them the documentation, you know, because Pastor didn't know. He wasn't charting the violent rate, the crime rate in the area, but the Rampart Division came to him and gave the Dream Center an award and said, "We thank you for being here because of your influence." And what the police officer said that was so amazing was, he was saying, because Pastor was saying, "We're just loving on people," but he said, "What you have done is you've made it a positive peer pressure to do right in the neighborhood instead of doing wrong." And so, in other words, because of your influence and influence your church, picking up trash, painting out graffiti, going around, you know, making a difference in the community, you've made it actually a cool thing to do what's right versus doing what's wrong. And so, because of that, you know, the neighborhood is really they took ownership of their neighborhood, and they started picking up trash, they started taking care of things, they started helping out, painting out things, and giving out things, and it all just culminated to a point where, man, you know, I was in Alabama, checking my email one day, and in my heart, I knew I was supposed to go to full-time ministry. And I'm thinking about, it's so funny, a lot of times God speaks to me when I'm not focused on the answer I'm trying to get. In other words, like, I'm thinking about toasters, and all of a sudden he's like, "Go to L.A." You know, so I'm sitting there checking my email, and I'm not even thinking about, you know, getting direction from God. And all of a sudden a voice inside says, you know, "Go to Los Angeles." And I always say it was the loudest voice I never heard. You know? And so it just resonated in me. I need to go to Los Angeles. So I remember I went to Los Angeles. I took a Greyhound bus. It took me 2 days and 9 hours across the United States just to get to L.A. And I felt like every crying baby in the whole entire, you know, city, the whole entire nation was sitting next to me every step of the way. And so I remember I got to Los Angeles, and at the time, you know, at the Dream Center, we have missionary opportunities for people that want to come and donate a year of their life. That maybe they want to come in and do that. We have short-term mission groups that, you know, youth groups around the world will come and donate a week or two of their time, and then they'll come back. But then we actually have people that are 1 year volunteers that come and they donate 1 year of their life, dedicate it to serve the inner city of Los Angeles, and so they had that program, but we also have a residential program for people coming off drugs, alcohol, maybe they're homeless, or maybe they've fallen on hard times, they don't know how to get out of, you know, they need help. Then we provide homeless, and we have a facility that houses people there that we can hold up to 180 men, and then we can hold up to 75 women. And so I came into the Dream Center wanting to be a disciple, because that's what I saw on the website. So I come to the Dream Center thinking that I'm going to be this missionary, right? And I'm going to go out and, you know, do all these things. And when I get to the campus, I say I want to be a disciple. So they think I want to be in discipleship. So I go over, and the next thing I know, I'm in the rehab program. I get in the rehab program, and then before I really figured out what was going on, I was already in the program. And you couldn't just switch programs, because everybody that comes into the rehab program, they all say, "Well, I don't have any problems. I need to go to the missionary side," you know. So everybody, you know, because, you know, the program's structured in such a way to help people get off. You know, you work so many hours a day. You're in your New Testament survey. You're learning Scripture. You're learning how to get your life back on track. And we put structure on people, you know, to keep them from, you know, whether they had drug problems or whatever their issues were, to keep them, you know, on track for God.